Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Mastery TV. My name is Tommy Stoffel, coming to you from somewhere in Southern California, where it's hot. It's hot here. It's been 100 degrees or more for the last few days, but that's okay because we're inside and under the blessing of air conditioning, I guess. So I'd like to introduce my partner in this, Soul Talk guy, David McLeod, and producer and director and everything else of the show. David, hey, how you doing today?
Hey, Tommy, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, it's hot up here too. Although I have to say, luckily we don't have as much in the way of heat. Sorry, dude, I'm getting a lot of your mic, I think. So I'm going to just mute here for a second. You can unmute yourself when you're ready to talk. Anyway, what's happening here is it's hot. It's about 80 degrees right now, and I know it's probably going to get up to 90 or 100. I know that's not as hot as what you've got right now, but hopefully maybe it's just hot enough for us to be putting the pressure cooker on ourselves so that we can help ourselves to get clear. Maybe that's what it's all about. I don't know, man. What do you think?
Am I unmuted?
Yep.
All right. I said it's as good a lead-in as any. Hopefully, I turned my volume down a little bit, so hopefully you won't get feedback. But yeah, clarity. Let's be clear is the name of the talk today. And we kind of always talk around this one. It's, you know, a matter of getting the head to quiet down sometimes so you can hear the true wisdom, so you can be more present, so you can be more in the moment, so you can actually pay attention to what's going on. And there's so many benefits to it, yet it's always so freaking elusive. What does clarity mean? Clarity of thought, clarity of mind. And so today we're gonna just, as we do, look at it from a different angle, dive into it in a different way. Don't know where this one's gonna go, except that I'm sure at the end it'll all come clear. And let's see what happens from there.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting that we started off talking about the weather. That is kind of the issue, isn't it? Think about fog. Now I'm still getting that echo, dude. Sorry. I'm gonna have to mute you. So I get this idea of fog. You know, the fog comes in and it obscures everything while it's there, and then the sun comes along and kind of slowly burns off the fog, and things start to become clear again. That's kind of the metaphor I see us creating here. And very often, I guess the real question for us is to ask is, well, what exactly is the fog when it comes to our minds? What is the fog? And what I'm thinking right off the top of my head is it's pretty much any combination of thoughts, and the more thoughts there are going on, the thicker and thicker and thicker the fog becomes. So if we can kind of bring our light to it and slowly, you know, cool off those thoughts, maybe burn them off and just allow them to dissipate, then that's where the clarity comes from. You have to mute yourself.
If you're going to mute me, why don't you unmute me when you're done talking?
I can't. That's the problem.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll keep stepping up and doing it then. So let's go with the cloud metaphor, David, because that's brilliant, and it was in my notes. Some people equate this to the clarity to think of a nice blue sky, right? An open blue sky. Clear skies. Doesn't matter how hot or cold it is, just clear skies.
Mm-hmm.
And the thoughts in our head are like clouds. You know, and sometimes we're still and quiet enough where it's just a nice white wispy cloud. But oftentimes, and what we want to get to is when there's freaking storm clouds. And when these storm clouds are thundering and lightning, and maybe the whole freaking sky is overcast. And then that metaphor plays out, and there's actually pictures of it. You know, everything's going miserable, and there's a big storm over your head, and lightning and shooting down, and thunder and hail, and all this other crap happening. Yeah. That we think of as our mind. Mm-hmm. Now, our natural state of mind is clear. which is great news, because then we can understand that these clouds that come in are something that are not a natural part of us and that we can actually start to work on. Now, you said, last week that there's always going to be some thoughts running around. Okay. I mean, it's really, really, really practice. You can have a totally clear sky for a few seconds and you expand that, but maybe a couple of wispy white, even if the white cloud is going, oh, there's a thought. Oh, there's a thought. Oh, there's a thought. And that's the cloud that goes whispering by. But I love the metaphor, and let's go with it and play with it and talk about where the stormy clouds come from.
Yeah, I think we've alluded to this in some of our other conversations, where we talk about our belief systems and still getting that. I'm sorry, dude. I'm still getting that echo. I'm going to mute you again. So we talked about belief systems and the way that we, basically a belief is nothing really more than a concrete thought, a thought that has kind of hardened over time, that has become a more permanent thought, something that we focused a lot of attention and energy on. And we have the power of transforming that, but depending on how intense the belief is and how strong that the underlying thought is and the attention that we focus on it determines how much more energy and effort we have to put in to change that. And so, I like to try and think of it as sandblasting, where there's this, we've got this dirt on the side of a building, and one of the best ways to remove the dirt and the paint and everything else so that we can see underneath is to just get a sandblaster out, blow all that stuff away, and then clean up the stuff later and just kind of recycle it and move it off and let it serve as a different form of energy. Well, we can do the same thing with our thoughts. It just takes a little more effort, I think, because we have to find all of the thoughts that have kind of solidified and have become more intense in our lives. And then we have to just focus that light energy onto them. And I say the light of love. That's what it is. We just say, okay, there's some thoughts. They're neither good nor bad. They're just there. And I'm going to just let my love flow towards those thoughts and just watch them slowly disappear. That could be my form of sandblasting. Sandblasting with love, man. Can't hear you.
I said sandblasting those stormy clouds away. So let's go with the sandblasting metaphor too, right? And the light, when I'm mixing metaphors too, but the light, I call it the light of awareness. I think Wayne Dyer, who passed away last week, gave me something a long time ago, and it was a flashlight that I just carry around in my mind. And so when I find something, that feels heavy, or it feels like a dark cloud, or it feels like, something I want to blast off the walls, I have that light. I call it my light of awareness, and I flash it like a miner's light in the darkness. And you look around at things, right? Yeah. So the initial sandblasting, let's talk about that, because if somebody sits there and says, I've got a head full of what some teachings call delusions, right? Let's call the delusions the heavy clouds, or the sand blocking our clarity. And we don't know where they come from, right? You said a lifetime of beliefs and ideas and all this stuff building up, piled up around us. If you tell somebody to do that little by little, it's going to be a frustrating event. Now, that's why you do what you do, and you teach people shadow work, because that kind of probably sandblasts a lot of stuff away. And it's the same thing with the chatter relaxer that I teach. It's kind of sandblasts a lot of stuff away. So you can, instead of being buried up to here under sand, you sandblast away, and you can at least get to where you can breathe. You get, some clarity now. And then once you have that clarity, then that light of awareness works a lot easier on working out the rest of the, like you said, the fine work, the detail work of going ahead and clearing the clouds away more and more and more.
Yeah. And the thing is, that blasting it away doesn't necessarily get rid of all of it. It just kind of it's like peeling an onion, a big thick onion. You kind of pull away layer after layer after layer. And the more you pull away, the more detail you can begin to see underneath. And that's what we're talking about here. as you get clearer or get through more and more layers, clarity just naturally starts to come forth. And all of a sudden, your eyes are looking at things in a whole new way. You're maybe seeing things that you've completely forgotten about. And maybe things that you lost or you thought you lost have suddenly magically appeared back in your awareness. And so the process is a sequential, kind of a repetitive, iterative process that just requires patience. Just requires patience. And remember, the love has infinite patience. So if you allow yourself to stay connected into that light of love, that light of awareness that you're talking about, Tommy, then patience just kind of naturally flows with it. I know that when I first started doing this, I had a high degree of impatience, and that was because I wanted to get rid of this stuff all at once. But afterwards, after I got rid of like big chunks of it, all of a sudden patience started to come back into the picture. And now I can take a little more time and energy, and I can be more relaxed and more, or let's say more stress-free, have less of that pressure on me in order to take care of it. It's pretty amazing how that works. I like your light bulb, though. You made me think of the Minions, you know, from the, what was that called? I can't remember those characters with the one eyes.
So beautifully said. Let's go back to metaphors. All right. Again, sky, clouded over, stormy, problems. You don't even see a patch of blue. That's what it feels like, right, before you start this process. But then through, let's call it the winds of change, that you blow some wind up, you blow a hole, and you see some sky, and you have a little bit of clarity. That's what you say. Once you have just a little bit, oh, now I know there's clarity. It's like, oh, there is something behind that freaking cloud. All right, cool. And that gives you a little bit of hope, gives you a little bit of patience, gives you a little bit of compassion, the love, you know, to feed into it and say, okay, this is working. Whatever I've done is working a little bit. I have a little bit of a blue sky once in a while. Maybe it's only one day out of 30 that you're feeling okay, and the rest of the 29 days of the month you feel like crap. That's how some of us start. But at least you have one day of clear sky. You know what that feels like, or maybe an hour in a day. That's the kicker. That's the start. And sometimes I use this other metaphor that, because this is the way I actually felt. I felt when I was, say, 40 years old, that I was buried under a mound of so much dirt, and call it mud and call it crap, just so much over my head. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't see straight. My world was cloudy. It was, even though it looked okay on the outside, inside I was just a miserable mess. And by doing some training that somebody else taught me how to do, it almost like blew away the top third of the mountain. It just went away because there was so much awareness brought in all at once. And then guess what? That mountain was maybe up to my neck still. But what could I do now? What does that third of the mountain represent? A blue spot in the sky, clarity, a little bit of ability to think a little bit and breathe a little bit. And now you have that wisdom going for you. And like you said, then you just keep working away at the rest of the mountain, bringing some clarity in.
And it's a very, how would you call it? It's cathartic in many ways. It gives you a chance to just breathe, as you said, and have that feeling of expansiveness. I mean, once you can start breathing again, it's like your whole body kind of expands and grows, and that is an amazing feeling unto itself. And that, I believe, is where we start to feel this aliveness within us when that happens, and hope just kind of naturally starts to flow in, and we see possibilities. We see, oh my goodness, this is the right direction for me. I got to keep doing this. I got to keep pushing this stuff aside because it's been building up over time and it's been holding me down. And now it's time for me to blast out of this thing. And I now know, just because I got that first third out of there, I now know I can do the whole thing. It's that first step that seems so hard sometimes. It's that first step that it's like, you know, when you're going to climb a mountain, you look and all you see is mountain. And you take one step and still all it seems like is mountain. But if you focus on the steps and not so much on the mountain, what happens is after a while you get and you look and you say, wow, that mountain's getting smaller. And if you turn around and you look back and you say, wow, look how far I've come already. So there's always a way of reflecting and taking some hope and replenishing your love just by looking back at where you've come from and noticing how much easier the job is getting as you move forward. So clarity starts with that initial step. It starts with that initial realization that I'm not feeling all that clear right now. And from there, the first step may become obvious.
And once that first step does become obvious, and maybe somebody's recommend you go to a workshop. I have a friend who's in a 4-day workshop this weekend. And I'm sure that that person's going to come out with a little ray of sunshine coming through what used to be a stormy, cloudy life. In that, what's in that clarity and you've said it several times and alluded to it is you're gonna have a different feeling. It feels different. Call it, you can breathe a little bit. Call it a sense of relief. Call it some of the pressures off. Call it this feeling of like, it feels good. It's a good feeling as opposed to it doesn't feel right. It feels right. And once you have a little taste of it, you're gonna have to keep working at it. That's the thing. It's not once you have a little taste of it, everything else works out. Now you have to go to work. Because once you have the motivation, right? Because you know what it feels like. Like, oh, I had one good day last month. All right, maybe next month I gotta have 2 good days. And you don't know when they're gonna come. And it's okay. And it's okay to also recognize that there's still gonna be chaos. There's still gonna be cloudy days. There's still gonna be heaviness. There's still gonna be times when you feel like quitting or giving up or whatever. But come back to those moments of clarity. Like write them down, make a point, put them on stickies. Like, oh, today I had this great aha, or I had this great revelation, or I felt this openness and expansiveness and this love. And make a note to yourself and put a freaking sticky on your computer or something to remember that. To remember the clear days when the rest of it's cloudy. Because like you said, David, when you start looking back, you're going to start seeing that you're having more and more clear days. And that's the whole purpose. It's not like, boom, I'm going to blow it all away all at once. I think some people do that, but they have to have suffered tremendously to the point of almost quitting life to really blow it away all at once. Mm-hmm. The rest of us have to go through this process of digging out with a troll or digging out with a shovel or digging out with a sandblaster, whatever tools we have and we're taught. And we have to keep doing the work ourselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that we have to think about is that as we get more and more involved in this work, as we do more of it, what happens is the clarity then helps us to see the value of the clouds. When all we see are clouds, it's hard to really appreciate what they do. When all we see is the weight of the mountain on us, it's hard for us to imagine what possible benefit this could have for us in our lives. And yet, the truth is, you wouldn't be here right now where you are if not for all of those events that have happened in your life. Okay, I suppose you could have found an alternate path to this place that might not have been so painful. That's possible for any of us. But the truth is, you did go through all those things, and here you are. So in some way, those events, those things served you. In some way, the weight of stuff has served you. In some way, the clouds that have surrounded you are serving you. And so the fact that you now can blast through those clouds and begin to see other things into the clarity, which helps you then to connect to who you really are and to connect to the purpose that you have on this planet. Once you get there, then you can look back at the clouds with a whole different perspective and you say, wow, that really is beautiful. And it has some powerful messages for me that I can really learn from. This is what becomes amazing about this process. Clarity feeds itself. It's an amazing process.
It is. It's like the snowball that gets bigger and bigger as it rolls. But this is a good thing. When you look back at the darkness, that is so powerful to do. And with that top third of the mountain blown away, and you're breathing a little bit, and you have some clarity, and you look around. Now you're looking and you're saying, okay, right, the stuff that I've gone through that's piled up around me has had a purpose. It has brought me to where I am. Either I was so freaking buried that I was going to give up and I had to blow out of it and I had to do something, take some drastic measures, go to like a workshop or take a class from one of the Soul Talk guys. Once you do that, then something drastic like that, then you start to see, yes, why you've gone through the shit you've gone through. Maybe you need to break a pattern that's been going on in your family. Maybe there's been a pattern of abuse or a pattern of anger or some pattern that's gone on, and you've lived it, you've experienced it, you've been the brunt of it, you've gotten kicked around by it, and you need to look, and maybe it's your time in life to break that chain, to not carry that behavior forward into this world anymore. And you'll see these things with that little bit of clarity. You'll start to see with that spotlight of awareness on, right? You look and you say, oh shit, that's why I did that. That's why that happened to me. Maybe this is why I had to go through all that pain or that breakup or that loss or that whatever. And you'll start to see how it all fits together and how it starts to bring up, like you said, your life's purpose, your mission, your real, like what you're here to do. So very powerful metamorphosis. And you're right, it's very exciting. It's very cathartic, and it's just fun when you get into it and you realize what you can do and how to clear it. It becomes a game.
Right. There's another aspect to this whole clarity thing that I wanted to share, and that is, as the more that I become clear, the more you can see into me. The more I become clear, the easier it is for you and me to be intimate, to get to know each other better. The clearer I am, do you understand what I'm saying? It's one of those things where the more clouds and stuff I've got going on in my head, the harder it is for you to really know me. But as I do the work to uncover myself and remove that stuff from my being, wherever it is, the greater the opportunities for me to create relationship with you, because now you're going to be able to see me fully for who I am, and you'll be able to trust me more completely. When I am covered up with all that cloudy stuff, you're not going to trust me. You're not going to know what I'm thinking or what I'm doing or any of that stuff. So you're going to naturally want to step back and keep your distance. But as I become more transparent, as I become more clear, that's when you start to pay attention and start to say, oh, I can really relate to this guy now. So there's a huge benefit that most of us don't even think about in terms of becoming clear. So I invite you to consider that as you become clearer for yourself, you also become clearer for other people, and therefore improve your relationships with them.
It's funny how that word, beautiful how that word transparency is exactly what we're talking about, right? Clarity. And how if we're buried and under dark clouds or a big mountain of crap, that word transparency is scary. It's like, oh, I'm not showing myself to anybody. I don't want them to see all my stuff. I don't want them to see all my dirt, all my garbage, all my clouds, all my storms. So we have a wall up, right? And that's, Pink Floyd, another brick in the wall. There's our big wall up. But as you get a little bit of clarity, you realize that you turn that transparency from a threat into a benefit. And you're right, David, it opens you up to, you're being more truthful with yourself, you're being more clear, you're being more clear in what you say, you're being more clear in what you hear, you're being more transparent in how you express. And what does that do? Look at my hands here. Yes, connection, opening up, connection with other people. Intimate, the word intimate may scare somebody who's buried. This intimacy is amazing. It's a soul connection. It's the way we talk and the way we express ourselves and the way our truth comes through us. Transparent, clear, wisdom, all these great things that we talk about just start to happen naturally, because this clarity is natural. It is our natural state. Our natural state isn't to be buried under a mound of crap. Our natural state is to be clear sky with clouds dancing across it once in a while.
Yeah. And on top of that, it's so much easier to be connected to joy. When I'm clear, all that other stuff that kind of bogs me down, which, by the way, normally kind of steals away my joy and makes me feel more angry and fearful and sad and all those other things that are maybe not quite so pleasant. But what happens is I get more clear, joy just naturally starts to flow, and love flows with it. I mean, and that is what people are attracted to. That's what I'm attracted to. When I see people that are like that, those are the people I want to connect to. The people who are, you know, angry all the time, although I can have some compassion and empathy and pity for them, I just generally don't want to connect with them. You know, they're the ones carrying around those huge clouds. Those are the ones who are not really allowing themselves, giving themselves permission to be clear and to be transparent. And so they're really costing themselves all kinds of, well, they're costing themselves happiness. They're losing out on happiness because they're not allowing themselves to experience it by clearing out the cobwebs, the garbage, the crap, the grunge that we allow to build up inside our heads. So it's really a choice. Do you want to be clear, or you want to be overcast? It's really a choice.
Yeah, it is. It is a choice to make. Although when you're buried under the mountain, you don't know that there is such a thing. You don't know there is such a thing as clarity. There is a choice. So hopefully somebody, you know, opens you up a little bit and you see a little bit of sky, and then yeah, to realize it does become a choice. Clarity is a choice. And the choice is, do I want to live in this mind full of delusions and crap and dirt and messed up ideas and stuff, and resistance and fighting and all that, you know, the fear and everything, or do I want to live in a more open, clear, transparent way? And I'll tell you from experience, I, of course, much rather live in an open, clear, transparent way. It's a much more fun way to live. It's a much more joyous way to live, as you brilliantly said. And it is. Look at us. Look, we're doing it, David. We've been doing it for over a year and a half, like talking these shows, and each time is all about getting some clarity and being more connected. As the Beach Boys used to sing about, good vibrations. Good vibrations. You know, it's just good connection, good energy, good flow. And once you get some of it, you want more. It becomes addicting. And I think this is a good addiction to have. Probably the only good addiction to have in life is to be addicted to that sense of joy and clarity, because it'll keep you working and keep you working. And it'll stop you from picking up new crap when it comes your way, or fighting, resisting something when somebody wants to, you know, call you out on something or use fear on you. And you get more wisdom. Again, wisdom is a big part of this. It comes through naturally. So yeah, just keep working at it. Just keep doing it. Just keep feeling it. And good vibrations. Mojo.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we're mojo.
It's great to
mojo consultants.
So the mojo consultants, I like that. So it is great to feel that clarity. It's great to have that sense of joy, that sense of flow, that sense of connection, the sense of transparency. And I want to say, I can speak for myself, and Tommy, you can pipe in if it's true for you. Just because I've done a lot of work and I have attained a certain level of clarity doesn't mean that I don't get overcast too. You know, I do. I'm a human being. I have all kinds of crap going on in my life. I just have to, I know what I have to do to get myself back to that clear state. And it's really not as hard as you might think. It really is. First off, this is the way we always teach you. The first thing is awareness. I have to know or be aware that I have allowed myself to get taken over by some kind of an overcast system. I have to recognize that, hey, it's actually raining and thundering in here. So that's the first thing. Second thing I can do is just say, rain and thunder. What do I do with rain and thunder? Well, first off, Why not enjoy it for a bit? Just allow the rain and thunder to do its thing. Just be with it and feel it. Allow it to pass through. And as you do that, just notice that breaks in the clouds just naturally start to happen, and just start to enjoy those breaks in the clouds. And before you know it, the clouds will just kind of soon part. The lightning will go away, the rain will dry up, and the sun will start to shine through. And once that happens, you can now really be fully in yourself and be fully open. And it's really not much harder than that. So the first thing, awareness. The second thing, feel it. The third thing, allow your own love to flow through. That's it.
Thanks, brother. Let's just talk about next week, because I just want to leave it on that beautiful note. Clearing skies, sunny. You're going to have cloudy days. You're going to have them until you don't anymore. Be with that. Next week, we're going to talk about the topic of the discussion is instant karma, an old Beatles song. So maybe I'll bring my guitar and sing.
Yeah, baby. Love you all.
Bye, everybody. Love you.